You know, we all know about all the controversies now around like movie making and all that stuff. So we want to be a little different. You know, um, we're thinking about talking about old franchises more or old movies,
Yeah.
classic things, and what we liked. We want to be a more like podcast than hating podcast,
Yeah.
and I'm not criticizing any other podcast that does critical thinking on movies. That's not the point. Point is, it's like I find do a lot of kind of like negativity around movies and stuff like that when it used to be a medium that we all enjoyed and loved. But like to kind of focus on this, we're gonna do. We're gonna start with Star Wars because that's kind of easy. That's the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, it is.
And the way I want to start is like, tell me, what's your favorite Star Wars movie and why, or what's your favorite Star Wars thing? We can count TV shows, animated TV shows, movies.
Well, the thing about the TV shows is that, you know, I think it's oversaturated. There's so much. There's such a wide range.
Let's talk about what you like first.
Okay,
Before we start the
that's
criticism.
that's fair. Well, that's what my point was. It's like, you know, there's so much out there that it can be hard to choose. But for me, you know, I could go original trilogy and you know what? I will do this. My favorite overall Star Wars thing.
Overall, yeah. We can dive in on the
Yeah,
each
we'll get more
trilogy.
specific.
Yeah, and see like which one you'd pick out of each trilogy. Although I think there's one trilogy there's not a plus.
Yeah, there's
one trilogy that doesn't have a plus, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think it does have.
We'll
a plus.
get there.
There's
Don't
one.
worry.
Yeah.
Dude, Rogue One. Rogue One.
But that where does that fall?
It's a standalone. It's technically.
Oh, it was supposed to be some of the anthropology ones, or
It's supposed to be like a standalone
Not
story
anthropology,
explaining, you know, how the rebels got the Death Star plans. Because that was a big point in the original trilogy. It's like, you know, you start out in A New Hope and Luke is thrown into this galactic conflict and, you know, all of a sudden the rebels have the plans to the massive battle station. It's like, well, I want to see how you got that. Rogue One explains it almost perfectly. They have a lead female protagonist that actually, you know, makes you root for her, doesn't hand her anything. You know, her parents get killed, her main mentor through life gets killed, and so she's got to come to terms with the fact that she's the only person in the galaxy that can deliver, you know, the enemy's battle station plans to the good guys. And so she has a huge character arc throughout that entire movie about, you know, it doesn't seem like it on the surface, but she goes from...
Oh, she has a tremendous character arc.
Dude.
Yeah, like it's...
And K2SO, the big black, you know, droid, he is so f***ing funny.
Diversity.
Yeah, you gotta put
Like,
some divisiveness.
Divisiveness.
Gotta
I
put
mean,
some
definitely divisiveness, yeah.
No, he's Andor. What a great character he was.
Okay, so not a hot take because I think a lot of people didn't see Endor. I just so gave up on the Star Wars after Kenobi.
Yeah, and that's
that
fair.
Endor came out, and I was like, I don't care.
Andor was worth, you know, and
everybody's telling me this. It's worth watching, but
I don't think it's worth watching. But I think it's, if you want a break from the battles in Star Wars and like the main overarching thing, then Andor is a good way to look at the more civilian take
Aspect.
on the Galactic Empire.
Okay.
Because they go through and they talk about, you know, they show the Senate, they show the higher ranking Imperials having their meetings, and it gives you more perspective on the decisions that were made leading up to A New Hope. It's not like what you would expect out of a Star Wars show. Like with Kenobi, it was
Breaking canon.
well, how?
After what they've been through in Kenobi, if you go back and watch the original, like A New Hope.
You served my father during the Clone Wars. Now he's asking for your help again.
Yeah,
So
instead of
that's a
saying,
good point.
"Hey, Kenobi," which I am pretty sure. Give it about 5 years. They'll probably maybe Disney Star Wars is dying now, so they probably won't do it. But I could have sworn that like in a couple of years they were gonna censor it in a way to ad lib Leia saying,
A
Kenobi.
special FX edition.
Yeah, like Kenobi, remember me, you protected me during this, da 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 da. Please help. Like, I could totally see them do that. Because they already censored Star Wars, by the way. Like, the original. Like, if you buy the original movie before Disney bought it versus the Disney version, dude, it's like...
Yeah,
it's not night and day, but it's like they changed a lot.
They changed a lot.
They changed a lot.
But you could also argue with the Leia thing, like, how many things from your childhood, granted, Obi-Wan protecting Leia from bad guys with red lightsabers, I mean, that would be something you remembered.
Yeah.
But how would you really
Didn't Obi-Wan not give her, like, her pistol or some shit? Or, like, the
maybe.
No, give her the thing that she put around her waist that every freaking senator after that had ever had. Because Padme had one, she had one, like they all had one. Like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, at the end of Kenobi, Kenobi gives her like basically a little, I don't know what you call those, like utility belt with just like with the gun holster, not the gun, but at least with the holster.
Oh.
And it's funny because that holster is like in every freaking Star Wars, like ever.
Yeah.
And I think it was because it was her mom's. That's what he gave to him. Like, it was her mom because it was Padme's.
Ooh. I would have to look into that, but that's actually, if that were true, that would be a
But that's, again,
detail.
why it's breaking canon. It's like, the dude did all that.
But I don't think...
And then left Luke, that was supposed to be the one that... Like, nobody knew.
I don't think he ever told her his name, though. I think it was genuinely like, I am the Batman. I like Kenobi. I don't think he didn't tell Leia his name. I don't remember a single point in any episode where she actually recognizes it. But then again, I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, and it's such scrap anyway.
But the thing is, that last episode with him battling Vader, that was crazy to watch. Regardless of how it treated the canon, the way that they
was
worded
it crazy to watch, or was it?
Because I saw it
nostalgia bait.
No, it wasn't nostalgia bait because I went into Kenobi being afraid that it was nostalgia bait. And, a little bit of it was, but what I wanted to see was...
A lot of it was. But
I wanted to see Darth Vader at his almost full potential. After Revenge of the Sith, he was never at full.
Okay, so let's say you didn't watch the OT, right? Let's say you did the timeline of Star Wars properly by watching
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Then you watch Andor, Kenobi, like all the TV shows in between. Then you go into
be Rogue One.
Rogue One, and then the OT. Honestly, by the time you get to the OT, Darth Vader looks like a bitch.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Darth Vader looks like a bitch by the time you get to the OT because of Kenobi. A lot of because you say you wanted to see for me peak Vader is Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
That's peak Vader.
That last hallway scene where he destroys the rebels.
Like literally,
holy crap.
I watched Rogue One and I was like, okay, this is a good film, but I'm not feeling that Star Wars vibe. Right? I was like, this is a good film. I see references from Star Wars everywhere. I get the characters. Yes. But then that minute in that hallway when he shows up, Vader showing up in that scene and being utterly ruthless is one of the rare things we see just in general now in Hollywood. Like a bad guy being a bad guy but being good at it.
How else, and you got to think about how else they were going to end that. How else would you end that?
Just the explosion was fine enough.
It was good.
It was good enough.
It was good enough, but you needed something like...
To be like, oh, Star Wars!
That's what I saw on Reddit. People were talking about their favorite film, and a majority of the comments were saying Rogue One. And the reason was, we watched that film all the way to the end, and we got something out of it. We got something that we wanted to see. We saw... we saw a great movie, an expanded universe.
Yes. Okay, that explained a lot of things, a lot of plot points. Which, I guess the question matters because if I ask the question, what's your favorite Star Wars movie or thing, it would be Rogue One. But honestly, by itself, it's probably not a good movie because it's like, how the hell do I connect all these dots that this movie is telling me about without watching?
You have to understand the rest of it. Yeah, and that's man. Which, by the way, talking about the the prequels,
Yeah.
dude, how crazy is it that we have done a complete 180? When those movies came out, we were like, they are so shit. Like, these movies suck.
Okay, so before
acting.
because I wanted to get into that because I do have a hot take of favorite movies because I kind of have two in the franchise that don't make sense, but then you realize it totally makes sense. So my number one is Return of the Jedi. That's to me, that's my favorite.
Fair.
Because Return of the Jedi was just like, that was it. That was like, you know, you get Luke after all his training coming back looking like the edgelord of edgelords.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the godfather of edgelords.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Because this is supposed to be a Jedi, right? And we know that Jedis are supposed to be the light, so they're supposed to be dressed in white or at least off-white colors. You know, nothing. Luke comes out all black.
Yeah.
All black. Barely says a word. Like because he comes in the ship where they're about to feed Han.
He showed up.
I think
at
we were about
Jabba's
to feed.
palace.
Yeah, but they were about to feed Han to the sandworm.
Mm-mm. No.
Dune sandworm.
Man, have you even seen Star Wars?
Okay, first of all, yes. Okay.
Luke shows up at Jabba's palace.
Yes.
Trying to bargain
For Leia.
for Han.
For Han.
For
Yes.
Han.
For Han.
This is after Leia gets captured, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I just saw Return of the Jedi like 2 weeks ago, but all I know is that
Not all. He knows more.
R2 pulls up the message of Luke, and
Yeah.
Jabba rejects it. Then Leia comes in, tries to rescue Han, gets captured. That's when Luke shows up.
So Leia wasn't in the dress yet. That famous Leia.
The slave outfit.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't in that.
Was that in Empire Strikes Back?
No. She was. So she showed
Because
up.
I think it was Leia and Han.
Yeah.
That he was trying to both get him out. Because basically, Empire Strikes Back is like the Empire wins,
Yeah.
right? So Han gets captured.
Yeah.
I think Leia goes into slavery.
No.
Goes into slavery. You know what I mean? No.
At the end of Empire, Luke's hand is getting repaired. He got a new robotic hand on the medical frigate, and the last shot is the Millennium Falcon with Lando and Chewie flying off into the galaxy.
Where is Leia?
And Leia is standing right next to Luke, and the medical frigate does a turn away from the camera, and it ends.
So was it? Oh God, I can't believe I should have rewatched the movie again before talking about this. But so doesn't she? So how does she bargain into getting into like the slave thing? Like it had to be some kind of trade that she was trying to do because
Yes,
I don't believe
it
that
was.
she got captured.
She did. She showed up as
With
a bounty
Luke
hunter.
as a No.
She showed up
God.
before Luke. If you let me actually tell the story.
Well, go ahead.
She showed up before Luke, but after R2 and Chewie, or R2 and C-3PO, and she was dressed in what is known as the Bouge costume, where she had that weird helmet, and she's like,
Oh, you're right.
She held Jabba at gunpoint with a thermal detonator.
You're right.
And, you know, stood him down and everything like that. And she was actually bargaining for Chewie at that point as a guise. So then when she thinks everybody's asleep, she goes over to Han and Carbonite and releases him. And they have a touching moment where they're kissing and this. And all of a sudden you hear Jabba, oh. Opens up the curtain, and all of the bounty hunters, Jabba and Salacious Crumb, are sitting there watching.
It really doesn't start with Luke, but it's like, I guess my childhood brain always puts it. It's like some weird cognitive.
I was the same way because I was
dissonance,
like, Luke should be here now.
Yeah, it's a weird cognitive dissonance because I literally remember like, and I don't think it's been a year since I watched Return. And still, like, I always think the movie starts with Luke walking into Jabba's
That's how I was. And I was in for a shock.
And tries to rescue, shit goes wrong. they get on that little stream thing,
the
sand barge, and then
or the sand skiff, whatever,
and then Dune's worm come out because the universes are connected. It's like,
so many people are gonna get mad at you. For
like so many people are gonna get mad. I mean,
great pit of carcoon.
I mean, the time we're doing this, and Dune being the relevant franchise now because Star Wars is dead and.
Star Wars fell off hard. That's sad.
Hard.
Well, it's fallen off like 3 times. Like the original trilogy came out and then it fell off, and then the sequel trilogy came out. I believe
at that time though, Hollywood did not know how to did not learn how to capitalize into making something a saga, like a whole franchise. It's like they had it, but they didn't know they had it.
Yeah. Till
they rebooted it, but the reboot went wrong.
Yeah, you could
say that. The reboot went wrong because, I'm a fan of the prequels. I've always been a fan of prequels.
Yeah, me too.
I was always in the belief that they were lesser movies than the OT, but...
They had their charm.
And watching the prequels, this was my mindset. Because I watched the original Star Wars, but I was very young. And I was like, oh, these are great movies. Blah blah blah. But I felt what was lacking at the time when I was young, that the OTs did not have enough lightsaber duels or enough force power. It's like force was very minimal.
Yeah.
In the OT, only one person really displayed force consistently throughout the series was Vader.
Yeah.
And I get me if I'm wrong. I think he only uses the force twice in the entire movie. I think the Force is used only twice in the entire movie. You have it first with Kenobi saying, "This is not the droids you're looking for."
Yeah.
Then you have it again with Vader choking, because the Force is some dark magic.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's not magic. Well, it is magic, but it's real magic,
yeah.
Right? And then after that, you don't really have a display of Force. So as a kid, I wanted more of that. Right? I wasn't ready for the critically acclaimed, good storytelling, good writing, good script. I was just like, give me force, give me lightsabers, give me duels, give me evil, give me good. Yeah. And the prequels came and basically delivered on that, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and that's why I raged when the prequels came. I was like, Star Wars, Yeah. Honestly, the prequels made me appreciate the OT more.
Yeah.
Because after watching it, I was like, okay, now I gotta watch the OT to know what really how shit
to get
really,
the actual full story.
Yeah. And some people don't want to say it, but something that the prequels did better than anything. Prequels has the best memes. The prequels has the absolutely best memes,
dude.
I mean, we were doing this at work the other day. We literally spent like 30 minutes just meme back and forth Revenge of the Sith, which is, by the way, my second favorite Star Wars.
We reenacted the scene at work because there's a guy at work who looks almost exactly like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels.
And he's not the type of guy to be doing he's very closed off.
He's very Kenobi.
And so he rehearsed the night before. He showed up and started doing it. And for probably 5 minutes we were reenacting that scene. And he sucked, but he looked like Kenobi, so I appreciate it.
Move the light. Your pill is fucked.
How's that?
No.
Is this better?
You just disappeared. Oh.
Zoom in on me right now.
Is that... I'm not. To kind of finish off, Return of the Jedi for me was the best Star Wars, especially after rewatching the OT. And then, honestly, second favorite was Revenge of the Sith, because I always wanted to see that turn from Anakin, although Revenge of the Sith doesn't really do it well. It doesn't do it well. But as a kid, I didn't care so much about how it was done, but that it was done. And there's only one thing that ever got me in that movie that's I can't explain it. I can't get behind it, and I can't even... It's that first flip switch that he does where he goes, "No, I don't think the Jedis are right," to killing babies.
Yeah.
That was just what?
That part of Revenge of the Sith is kind of a weird point for me too, because you can't exactly see where Anakin turns. In my opinion, when he talked to Palpatine, at the opera about, is it possible to learn this power, which he was talking about saving, Padme. And Palpatine goes, not from a Jedi.
And I think that's where they should have gone. They should have been like, okay. See, if I had to fix Revenge, that's where I would have, that right there. Where he talks about this, and then your follow-up should be basically Padme going to the hospital because she's about to die. Anakin panicking, right?
Yeah.
Goes to Yoda, goes to Ben. He's like, please help Padme. And Padme's, and they're like, no, there's nothing we can do. The universe must decide what it must decide.
And that's when he starts.
And then that's when he'd be like, what the f? No, I don't want her to die. Like, I already had my mom die. And then that's when Palpatine should have come in. It's like, there are other ways to use the Force. Yeah. And then, now you can have that transition. Because you got to make Padme die before, what's that place called where they had the duel?
Mustafar.
Before Mustafar. You had to make because Padme being at Mustafar should have changed Anakin.
Yeah. Like,
it's completely...
Well, it almost did. It almost did if you think back to that scene.
You lie! Liar!
Because Obi-Wan's... And if Obi-Wan had approached it from a different perspective...
Yes, not standing in the back. Like this dude was like, I'm pompous as f***, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong. No.
You will not take her from me!
You will not take her from me!
You have done that yourself! It's like, bro, if there was an opportunity to save Anakin, that was probably it.
That was it. And
I mean, you can't forgive him for killing all those kids.
Mustafar should have just been Anakin, Obi-Wan. Padme should have died before. And Anakin would not have known about the kids, right? So Padme dies.
Yeah.
She's going to give childbirth, and they're saying... So... It's such an easy scene to include. So you would have him witnessing Padme's, they're going, he's like, oh no, I gotta go into labor, I'm giving the kids, but then she's almost fading, and then it looks like she's about to die before saving the kids, right? Mm-hmm. Right as it look like it's about to die, that's when Anakin loses it.
Yeah.
Because he can't watch, right? He's not gonna watch another loved one die in front of him, right? So he goes to Palpatine. Palpatine is like, no, he goes to Yoda, goes to Obi-Wan. It's like, guys, we gotta use the Force for something here, right?
Yeah.
All that power we have, all that power I have.
I know there's things you're not teaching me.
There's things you're not teaching me because Palpatine already seeded.
He already said that.
He said that. So now you're talking to them, have that convo, and they're like, no, you can't change the balance of the universe. You can't, blah, blah, blah. Death is a natural part of life, blah, blah, blah. And then he could be like, F that.
Yeah.
I'm not accepting that. Goes back to Palpatine like, Palpatine, what do I need to do? And that's when Palpatine's like, kiss my hand.
Yeah.
Kiss my hand, you're mine now.
You could make it to where, they send Mace, because the natural progression of that story is Mace Windu goes with...
Oh, when they're talking, right? When Anakin is kneeling down to Palpatine, Mace Windu
you could
walks
have
in the
Anakin
room.
Stand off to the side while Palpatine deals with them, and then
that's when Anakin's like,
Mace.
yeah, no, I gotta kill you, Mace.
Yeah.
He has a way for me to save Padme. Sorry, Mace.
Yeah, but then you're forgetting one detail. Obi-Wan goes to Padme in her apartment and asks her if she knows where he is. And I can't remember exactly what is said, but he knows that she knows something that she's not telling him.
Okay.
So he hides away.
Honestly, that could have been skipped, and Obi-Wan could have gone into meditation after the whole Mace Windu killing. Obi-Wan goes, okay, I gotta find Anakin, I gotta talk to him one last time. He's my brother. Goes into deep meditation.
But the problem with that though is there is a problem with that. There's not been a single point in Star Wars up to that point where they ever were like Charles Xavier'ing it, going, his coordinates are 19.
So my question to you is it a bigger plot point than what we got? No.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it would be.
No, it's not. Because you still can explain how Anakin. Huh?
It would kind of be a cop out.
The cop out
just
was
meditating
the cop out.
Mustafar, Lava World.
No, it could be. Bro, first of all, not to bring these movies in, but the sequels did that.
Yes, that's why I wanted to avoid that. I would avoid doing any sort of even telekinesis.
But I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem if it's well integrated. Meaning that it's not Charles Xavier in the sense that like I can find any Force users around the universe. No. It's more like if two Force users are trying to connect, I could see them talking. Because it's almost in the same realm as Ghost users.
Oh, okay. Yes. And there is...
Or
okay.
Force Ghosts. Ghost users. I use Ghosts!
You become... just imagine if they kept it like that, like...
Ghost
what,
users.
what ended up happening to Qui-Gon? He's just a ghost now.
It's like, yeah, and we use him for...
We have a little talk box that we talk to him with. Yeah. He's doing great. He's on welfare now.
No, not welfare.
No. So the sequels, the most interesting part for me, genuinely, was when Rey connected herself to Kylo and the force projection kind of thing, where they're in their heads, There's a scene where Rey is messing around in Kylo's vault of where Darth Vader's original Return of the Jedi helmet is.
Yeah.
Because there were multiple helmets throughout that series. That's something not a lot of people know. In canon, there are different helmets for Darth Vader. And she goes to grab something, and he shows up, and right before he grabs her, or like it's a necklace that she's wearing or something, he grabs it, and the vision goes away.
Yeah.
But when it cuts back to Kylo, he's holding that thing that was in that vision.
Yeah.
So you could totally do it to where Obi-Wan did that same thing, connected to Anakin, and was like, what happened? Where did you go?
So how does Padme know about Anakin?
I don't remember.
Because I think what I'm saying is how Padme knows. Because of the connection that she has with... Well, it's a deeper connection because, she got Anakin's sperms in her. So, it's, yeah.
There's a different way to say that, but, that's a good
I think
way
I like that way.
I don't think there's a really good way to do it. I mean,
I think the way I said it was a pretty good way to do it.
And that's okay. Some people are just wrong. That's all right. It's okay.
Yeah, George Lucas was wrong.
George Lucas was on something different, dude.
Was something different. George Lucas was wrong.
Holy crap.
But
yeah.
All right. So, I mean, that's pretty much covered for like what we like. What is your worst
Star Wars
thing?
From, I think genuinely, man, Rise of Skywalker for me sucked. And you're going to have to censor that for me. And that one too. Dude, when I watched Rise of Skywalker, so I've seen every single Star Wars film past Revenge of the Sith in film, or in theater. I saw Rogue One, I saw, the sequel trilogy. I watched Force Awakens in the theater, and it was a good experience. I liked it. I walked out going, that was nice. We saw The Last Jedi in theater, and it was okay. There were things that I didn't like, but, I didn't walk out hating it. I do now.
Not yet. Yeah.
I do now. I hate that movie.
It's like when you watch it again, you're like, wait.
Where did this come from?
Wait.
You're not thinking about that when you watch it in the theaters. You're thinking about, what's the next thing? What? I have not seen The Last Jedi.
You gotta remember, like, it's like we went, 10 years? Before we got, like, a Star Wars project? Like
2005 was Revenge of the Sith.
And so 2016 was the first.
2017. No,
it was 2017 was last.
It was 2015.
It was 2015,
yes,
so it was about 10 years.
10 years.
So 10 years without Star Wars.
Apart from the Clone Wars. Because the Clone Wars came after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a movie. A Star Wars movie.
Yes.
So we went 10 years without that. And so it was, people ate it. I ate the whole trilogy. I got tired by the Rise of Skywalker, and I didn't really understand why I was tired, but I realized later on it's because of The Last Jedi.
Well, there was too much. It gets to a point where there's so much in a series that it's just like, I'm tired of it. It's like Marvel. That's how I am with Marvel.
Finish. I'm in the belief that if you can write a great story, it doesn't matter if you have that franchise for 20, 30, 50 years.
Yeah.
If you can write, let's say that franchise. Let's take the Marvel format of like 2019 and early, right?
Yeah.
They were putting out something like 3 movies a year.
Yeah.
So like one in the beginning of the year, like like February, March, then summer blockbuster, and then you would end it with like some November Thanksgiving movie, right? And if 2 out of 3, if 1 out of 3 is a very good, well scripted movie that doesn't mess up timelines, and the other 2s are just popcorn movies, like no brainer, not much, like Ant-Man level, like Ant-Man 1 level, like nothing. Just put a couple people together, have them have a laugh. Give me a script that's like decent, that doesn't have too many plot holes, and don't make it about a multiverse. Don't make every single one of your movies about some world-ending scenario. Just give me character builds and whatever, and then one movie's out of the 3, you give me a world-ending bit, right? But then you create a nice writing, nice character development. You don't forget past character developments because you're a franchise. You're not making some new movie. You're a franchise. Don't forget past character development. You could go for a franchise like that for 50 years.
And that's what Rise of Skywalker didn't do.
That's what it didn't do.
Because even in the theater, I was listening to what they were saying, and I was watching how the events were taking place, and I was like, there's no connection. The character of Rose Tico, the lady from The Last Jedi, who they built up to be somebody, just ended up being another nobody in Rise of Skywalker.
Didn't she die in The Last Jedi? No, she died.
She almost died. She got hit by it. Yeah,
Finn saved her.
Yeah, and then
talk about wasted character.
Throw her potential away,
dude. I thought Finn was it, bro.
They played him up to be it, and I would have been so pumped for that.
I thought Finn was it because honestly, he's not a bad actor.
Imagine like
out of everybody in the sequel trilogy, he might be my favorite actor. As in the person with the best performance.
Right.
Because
Daisy Ridley's really good.
No, she's really good. She's awesome. But her character is so flat.
Yeah.
But is my problem. It's like her character it's such a I win at everything scenario, and all my training, even her training arcs, she's winning.
She's when they show Luke in the original trilogy.
Do you know how many failures? Do you know how many failures Luke goes for? Luke goes 2 movies of failures.
He gets his head cut off.
Yes.
That's like his biggest failure. But learning that his dad is the ultimate bad guy in the galaxy.
In the galaxy.
I have ADHD. But yeah, dude, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Man, I told you this. I walked out of the theater going, my family. We watched it with my family, my fiance, and her family, and everybody was walking out of that theater going, wow, that was a really good movie. I was the only one that was like, can we get our $7.45 back? Because there was nothing. There was no explanation as to why the Emperor returned. Even in Legends, the Emperor coming back didn't make sense. That's why they didn't do anything with it.
Let's go find a dagger that literally has the shape of a...
We're going to stand in this specific spot. We're going to hold it up. We're going to hold it up.
Sunken shit.
No, it was the Death Star ruins. It was the second Death Star.
Over like crazy tides. And it's like one of the most tied... full planets.
They didn't even get the design of the second Death Star right on the inside. If you look at the scene where they're in the throne room, there is a room that Rey enters that is not visible. In the original trilogy, they point directly at it. Where she's going into, it's not there.
You know what's funny? Star Wars never was, or maybe it was, but it never portrayed itself as like a Dungeons and Dragons story. And by that I mean usually in these kind of Dungeons and Dragons story, which is kind of like Lord of the Ring, you have a MacGuffin or artifact that either needs to be protected, acquired, or destroyed. And the hero's usually quest is to ultimately do that deed with that artifact, with having other people coming and chasing the artifact. Star Wars wasn't that.
No.
Star Wars was characters basically going through a personal journey. And the sequels turned Star Wars into that. It was MacGuffins after MacGuffins after MacGuffins. And remember, they had to find the thing to locate...
The holocron.
The holocron. But no, second movie, no, there's an holocron that, is better than this holocron, but because, you can't track it. But wait, you can track it. Like, and then third movie, Dagger. You really went D&D. The minute you were like Dagger.
Well, yeah, no. In the Last Jedi, it was the sacred Jedi texts that
Sacred Jedi texts. It's like, bro, that's not Star Wars. We're not like a fetch quest.
It was never about a library of books. It was literally knowledge that was passed on from master
from masters to masters.
Now all of a sudden you have these books in this tree that looks like the symbol of the Jedi?
Get out.
On the island that Luke happens to be living on?
Get out.
You're full of crap.
So for you it was
the worst.
The Rise of
the worst
Skywalker.
was Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
It's the worst. It's difficult for me because there's the Boba Fett one.
Book of Boba Fett was so disappointing, dude.
It was so disappointing because I didn't... what was crazy about it is that I didn't even expect much of it, and it still disappointed me. Like, how do you achieve that?
I went into it.
How do you achieve
with high hopes?
Disappointing low standards?
Yeah.
Like, that's a feat in itself. If you can disappoint somebody with low standards, that's a feat. Like, you really have to try.
I guarantee you I could direct a good Book of Boba Fett.
Like, that's what it is. You kind of stole the words out of my mouth. It's like, when you watch Book of Boba Fett, you're like, how much did this cost to make?
How did this get past quality control?
Like $100 million, bro. Went into this.
That's way too
much.
And
then you're looking at freaking basically corridors that are the same corridors, just like repurposed, not even properly repurposed, just like repurposed. The thing felt like it was filmed in a room that big.
Yeah,
the entire fucking thing.
There was only one good part about Boba Fett.
What?
The
guy's too old.
He is. I'll give you that.
Like he's
and the change from being a bad guy for the Empire to a good guy working for
himself.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad guy though. He was a bounty hunter, meaning that the highest paid person would always going to get his service.
True, but
I think after
the Empire.
But after the Empire fell, he was kind of like, all right, there's not going to be anybody paying me for my services, so let me own a town. Which is
I'm going to take over Jabba's place.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it. And then he just walks in, I did it. I was like, you're not going to contact the whatever, space control, planetary, whatever. Like, there has to be something saying this land is for this.
They show. So they have a whole thing where, everybody will bring a tribute to the palace. And originally it was Bib Fortuna that took over after Jabba got killed. Well, Bib Fortuna got shot in the face. So, Boba demanded a tribute from everybody to gain their loyalty, and that's how he took over. But
so you did give the tribute?
They gave the tribute. There was only one that was like, we're not going to give tribute, and he made it very clear that if you don't give me tribute, you don't have my protection, and you're going to get killed. And that's exactly what ended up happening. But, to my point, there was the good part about Boba Fett was, so he ends up, his armor gets taken off of him by Jawas or whoever, and he ends up in the desert, and he gets taken in by a tribe of Tusken Raiders. And for the entire original trilogy and prequel trilogy, we're like under the impression that these people are Neanderthals. Like, they're cavemen.
Yeah.
They don't have any feeling. We find in Boba Fett, these people not only have feelings and emotions, but they are struggling.
They're people too.
They are people too. And so
can't believe you said that.
There's a point in the show where they get attacked by raiders.
Yeah.
At their camp, and a bunch of young Tusken Raiders get killed. It changes Boba Fett. So he hops in the Slave One and he goes tracking after him. And there's a long shot of, you're coming in like this with the Raiders, and they're flying on their speeder bikes. All of a sudden, from the sky, the Slave One comes in. And I'm getting chills thinking about it because I watched it with my dad, and I was like, oh my God. Slave One comes in, and it starts firing on him. Like, the sound effect of that! Award-winning! Right here! He starts firing on them. And, when we talk about this, we'll have to have a clip of it showing. Because it's so cool, because he just takes all of them out. And then, that's it. He just flies away. Like, there's no, like, he doesn't even look behind him. He just flies away, and that's it. And that's the Boba Fett that needed to be in the entire show. That's it.
Alright, but it's I don't know. It's
That's
but
what the show
that,
needed to be.
that's like my worst thing in Star Wars. But if we have to put it down in movies, it's I want to say The Last Jedi, because there's only one picture in my head every time I think of Luke.
It's him.
It's rhino
disappearing.
milk. No,
Oh, the milk.
it's the rhino milk.
Yeah, that's nasty.
It's like when I see.
Nasty.
And it's crazy because I do like occasionally taking a character a little bit outside a character to make a pun, like a fun moment.
Yeah.
Because like, maybe that guy is so stoic, we would like to see him in an unstoic type of situation, if that's a word.
Yeah.
But I don't like it to be too crazy.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like
It was just nasty.
It was just nasty. It was just it's like I'm
like
watching
the
the
Force.
thing and I was like, it's like The Last Jedi did something that the shit I hate the most is like the first 15 minutes of the movie, I have to sit there and see one of my favorite heroes get completely decimated, like destroyed on screen.
Tossing the lightsaber behind
Tossing
him
the
like it meant
lightsaber,
nothing.
Like it meant nothing.
Come on, dude.
Like, and then you really actively want me. Okay, question. What is the worst? Luke, the greatest savior the galaxy has known. All right. Luke having a bad dream about Kylo,
Yeah.
then decides to kill Kylo when he's sleeping, which is so cowardly. So many.
It's not
problems. It's not Luke. Like that transition, because I feel like you could have a transition where Luke is like, oh shit, do I need to eliminate him? I could see a situation play out where he's asking himself that question, not taking action, but at least asking that question and maybe having a vision of it, of him doing it. Like if you had put Luke in a situation where he was a vision of him doing it, because he's like so worried that Kylo, because of like past activities like Kylo's done, he's so worried that Kylo's gonna turn, then he ends up having a vision of him trying to kill Kylo and then waking up and be like, oh shit, I can't get myself to that. It would have been okay. But do you believe that transition from him to wanting to kill Kylo versus Anakin completely switching? Like, which one do you think is worse?
It's the Luke, for sure. Because, if you wanted to play that out, the reason that Luke tried to kill Kylo is because in the movie, they play it up as Luke has PTSD about spawning another Darth Vader. And so
but he didn't spawn.
Well, yeah, but like that's what
I get it. It's not even to you. It's just you're saying this, and I'm already getting worked up.
Yeah, I know, and it's stupid to think about because at that point, Luke, we see this in Ahsoka with Luke. He's not worried about anything because he knows that the time of the Empire is done. Even though the First Order is starting to spawn, he's more worried about training, the new generation of Jedi. He shouldn't be worried about, stuff like spawning another Darth Vader because that's not going to happen. And that's where they were going with that. They were pitching Kylo to be the new Darth Vader. And then they completely stopped that because everybody was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. He's a dumb emo kid trying to be something he's not.
Well, yeah. Well, how do you have Kylo I never liked that part. Like, I think that's the point I saw that maybe Star Wars wasn't back. Like, as in, like, oh, we're not gonna get what we.
You're not that guy.
Yeah.
You're not that guy.
No, it's the part like where they tell him like they couldn't capture one person or Ray or something, and then he takes his lightsaber and flips out on the thing.
Yeah, that's when
what kind of? I remember like literally watching it was like what?
Yeah, and the entire movie of The Force Awakens is just Rey getting away from them, which is weird to think about because and it's every time like Kylo flips out and starts destroying.
This guy was trained by. Let's put it out there, guys. This is not. Oh, a woman can beat a guy situation. No, I'm gonna explain it properly. Kylo Ren was trained by the greatest Jedi the universe has known, right? Are we in agreement with that?
Greatest Jedi is a stretch, but yes, the greatest living Jedi, sure, because there wasn't anybody else.
It's a stretch, but he was the prophesized kid. But anyways, that's not the point. By a great Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. Then left the Jedi Order and got trained by Snoke. And by what we know, as in Rise of Skywalker, Snoke is a clone of Palpatine. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So this guy, Kylo, got trained by a great Jedi and a great Sith. And Rey picks up the lightsaber one and defeats him.
Yeah.
Scars him. Oh, did Rey get scarred? No.
No. Nothing.
Nothing.
Not once.
Like this should have been the part where Rey loses an arm.
If she had lost a body part, I'd have been more okay.
That should have been
and
the
that
part.
sounds bad out of context.
No, it doesn't. Because they all
context.
did.
Out of context.
I'm sorry. Without context, Rey should have lost a body part.
Oh, yeah.
Luke lost a body part.
It's
Anakin
tradition.
lost a body part. It's tradition.
Yeah.
If you want to make that's the part. It's like don't make that different.
You know what I love?
People would have loved. People were ready to love Rey.
Yeah.
People were ready to love Rey.
And
we were all ready.
They fumbled it. They fumbled the ball, man.
We were all ready to love Rey. And then we realized, I was like, wait a minute. Did you get sprinkled with angel dust?
One of the biggest plot holes in that entire sequel trilogy is in the Rise of Skywalker. You know, the plan. There's something that gets leaked to the rebellion.
These leaks.
And it turns out that it's General Hux.
WikiLeak.
General Hux, the guy that ordered, I think, 18 billion life forms to die when he shot the Starkiller base super laser into the galaxy and killed a whole bunch of New Republic planets. That same guy is the guy that leaked information to the New Rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad he got shot in the stomach, because it was just like, dude, that was such a dumb thing.
No.
I'm the spy. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're the bad guy.
No, you're not. No. And like
I'm a triple double agent.
Even if, let's say, he was the spy, till the end, I'd still believe you're a bad guy. Like, yeah, so why did you leak it?
Yeah, what was the point?
You trying
I think
to, like,
he gave some
Murray?
half excuse. I think he was just trying to get back at Kylo. That's the only reason he did it. Because he was tired of their relationship.
What is up with these like grown man characters throwing tantrum over like?
That's not completely unrealistic from what we deal with at work, though.
But that's fine. That's work.
Okay.
We're not talking about trained warriors.
I think that's where they were going with. Like, it happens in real life, so it should happen
this
here
is the
too.
problem with modern writing, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like you have these.
self-aware.
It's not self-aware enough. If you're self-aware, you know that these characters are trained warriors. You should not have characters throwing tantrum. Not grown, well-trained, monk-ish characters being throwing a tantrum. Right? It's not. You're not working at McDonald's.
No, it's.
You're not working at McDonald's where customer service sucks. You're not. Okay? You are leader of group of men and women, and you should behave accordingly. And even like bad guys don't need to be stupid.
No.
You're a bad guy. You're controlling masses. You have to be charismatic and ingenious about it. Like you can't just be. It's like because you're a bad guy, you're stupid. No. Stupid people are not bad guys. They're not smart enough.
I like it when the bad guys are smart. The way I see it, though, the bad guys in the sequel trilogy are like Looney Tunes bad guys.
Oh, Looney Tunes. I mean,
that's just
Looney Tunes.
But the original trilogy bad guy, and then Andor.
Bro, original trilogy bad guy is the greatest villain in TV and movie history.
Well, I mean, it has to be, because he starts out as a broken kid in slavery who gets wrapped up into the Jedi, then told, well, okay, you're a great Jedi and all, you have a high midichlorian count, but you can't become a master because your emotions are too far out of whack. So he starts taking it personally. Then, all this while he's being groomed by a Sith Lord. Then he gets lied to and, told a bunch of stuff that isn't true, goes one way too far, becomes Darth Vader, broken. Oh, well, the girl that he was trying to save is now dead, so now he's just a broken man in a robotic suit. He has no end. He's a broken man. Watching The Force Awakens, or not The Force Awakens, watching A New Hope, and then watching Empire, it's like, this guy is so awful. Like, there's no redemption for him. And then you pull the mask off in Return of the Jedi, and you see him interact with Luke before he comes on the Death Star. I mean, that scene where he's talking to Luke on Endor, in that little hallway where Luke is trying to redeem him right then and there, like, Father, come away with me. And Vader literally goes, it's too late for me. I watched that 2 weeks ago, and I was like, damn, man. That's right. Like, it's such a simple line, but in the story of what
I mean, in the story, it's too late.
It's way too late.
Way too
you know
late.
he's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, even without the death, you can't. The only way you had to redeem Darth Vader was to kill him off like that, because you couldn't redeem him with him being still alive. I don't care. Like, it was like, no, there is nothing Darth Vader could have done afterwards.
That with was all the killing that he did.
All the killing that he did, he killed
hundreds of thousands.
I mean,
of people.
we can start with the kids.
Yeah,
and all that was for the sake of power.
The only way that and there is actually a comic book that shows a light side Darth Vader being redeemed.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It is very cool. And it shows how he was saved, and he has a white suit now with blue lenses. And, you know, he helps the New Republic build itself back up. And so I don't know the full story behind it and how he got... I don't think he was ever forgiven for what he did, because you can't be. What a tragic character.
It's two scenes for me that makes Vader Vader. It's the first interaction with him and the group of people. It's like, oh, like the Force is some kind of voodoo black magic. And he goes, like that? As a kid?
I know what the line
scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like...
Your lack of faith disturbs me. And it's like, okay, so this is real. This is... He could kill you.
Yeah.
Actually, the first scene where it's very clear that he could kill somebody is when he picks Antilles up by the floor with one hand and chokes the life out of him and throws him into a wall.
That was in the first scene?
Yes, it was.
Oh, God.
That's when it's A New Hope. When he shows up in the Tantive, Antilles is like the first one that he questions. Antilles doesn't give him anything, so he's like, if this is a consular ship, where's the ambassador? Doesn't even give him a chance. Throws him
up. Yeah. I mean, that's Vader in a nutshell. But like, that's a great scene.
The 2 fingers.
But the 2 fingers is
like
what? Because it's like,
okay,
like this, and especially knowing that he has the robot arm.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that's just like robotic strength.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay, whatever. But like, he goes like 2 fingers like this, and then you're like, oh, this is like with like transparent force.
Yeah.
like,
this must be that Ghost Force.
This is like Ghost Force? Oh. And the scene at the end of Endor. I think the scene at the end of Endor was almost necessary for Vader to like take a reboot of being the greatest bad guy ever.
Yeah, that was the first actual moment where, you know, in the film you see him actually like realize, oh, like, I have to do something.
I done No.
I wish they showed, they kind of showed in Empire him realizing that Luke is his son. But there's an actual comic book that scene that shows Boba Fett revealing the name of Luke. He's like, talking about the name of the person that destroyed the Death Star, because, you know, he felt a Force connection to him. And Boba Fett said his last name was Skywalker, and Vader is just standing stoically in front of a windshield, and he breaks it with the Force. It just shatters. It doesn't break apart, but it shatters. Because he realizes, that's my son.
Yeah.
And I wish they showed that, because that would have been really cool to see. It would have
been great.
There's a lot of things that would be cool to see in Star Wars, but we'll never be able to see it.
Well, guys, this has been a nice conversation. This was the good, the bad, and the ugly of Star Wars.
Which will be a topic for another episode.
Which we could go on and on and on. But if you guys like this kind of content, if you guys want to see more of us talking about different franchises and the good, the bad, and ugly,
we'll have our social media linked in the description if you want to give us a follow, and we'll update you as we go along. So, I guess...
Deuces.
Censor that one, Jerry, and end it there!